It is 9:25 p.m. Monday, March the 27th. Good evening, beautiful people. Welcome to Diary of a Sports Fanatic. My name is Nick, and today I'm going to talk about acknowledging and living your truth. And so today I want to start with a quote that I shared on one of my Facebook statuses this past week. And this quote is from one of my favorite poets, Naira Waheed. And this is an excerpt from her book entitled Salt. I love myself, the quietest, simplest, most powerful revolution ever. And so this quote hits home for me for a lot of reasons. I think when we talk about acknowledging and living your truth, it's very much a lifelong process. And so it requires some grit, patience, as well as some vulnerability. And so lots and lots of people fail at this time and time again, including myself. But I think we owe it to ourselves to relentlessly pursue this. So this idea of connecting with your higher self. So this can be found in Hinduism, Christianity, as well as some New Age spirituality. I like to think of this as a filtering process. So by connecting with your highest self or your higher self, you attract people who genuinely care about you and genuinely support you for your identity, and that you're not hiding anything. I think that also at the same token, you can also subtract maybe some negativity or some people who don't benefit your life. Oftentimes when we connect with our higher self, other people don't understand. And so that can be a cause for confusion. It can be a cause for some backlash towards you. But in my eyes, that further provides clarity that maybe that individual or those people weren't meant to be in your lives in the first place. So this idea of acknowledging and living your truth, like I said, is a lifelong process. And so this journey for me has included coming out, which was a major obstacle for me. And I think one of the biggest reasons is that I didn't have to. So most times people just assume that I'm straight already. So I have a very masculine appearance. I'm 6'4". In addition to that, my current partner is a woman. We've been together for 3 years. We're very much invested in one another and would like to get married and have children soon. So, there was really no need for me to come out. There was really no need for me to share this information. And so it took 25 really long, awkward, and uncomfortable years for me to even personally acknowledge my queer identity. And what seemed like a century passed by. But after that happened, not only did I survive, but I began to thrive. To me, my life changed forever, especially because I feel like from that moment on, I felt like as long as I'm breathing, I made the decision to use any platform that I'm given to tell my stories, even the ones that hurt, because I know that for a fact there are people out there who are struggling with living their truth. There are so many people that are trapped living someone else's life because of fear and judgment. And if my words can bring someone hope, courage or happiness, that any backlash that I personally receive or ridicule, to me, is worth it. Totally worth it. So, rewind really quick to last summer. I was invited to speak at a promo event, which was entitled The Role of Allies, supporting the LGBTQIA community. And so I was given the opportunity to share my experience as a queer black man. And so my goal was to shed light on some toxic masculinity that I think exists in our society. I wanted to shed light on homophobia. I also wanted to talk about acceptance as well as the importance of legitimate sex education. And so the transcript, at least 90% of it, is actually included in the link below in the description. So I won't say word for word each story, but I'll just quickly summarize. So the first story that I shared was during a summer camp that I attended in grade school. And during this time, I was on this particular day alone with another individual. And so he was a few years older than me, a lot bigger than I was. And we just so happened to be watching a movie. And some things transpired, but what ultimately happened was there was some accidental touching of the feet. And then there was also, a more platonic, non-sexual gesture involved. And during that exchange, this person actually reacted violently towards me and said some pretty hurtful things. And so for me, I was very scared at the time, and it took a while for me to process and kind of get over that. And so for me, I think that shed light on homophobia that exists in our society and this policing of male touching. So any type of platonic intimacy or any type of intimacy between males is automatically viewed as homosexual or viewed as a threat. And so that's something that needs to be addressed, surely, in our society. So the second story that I shared actually took place in DC. At the time, I was going to undergrad, and I got into an argument with a former friend who happened to be queer. And during this argument, I got upset and I took it too far. I said some really mean, hurtful, and disrespectful things to this individual. And he actually started crying and has not spoken to me since then. And this was a very difficult story to share for me, in that it kind of represented a dark place in my life, a dark moment in my history. And for me, it was all rooted in fear. I lashed out at that particular individual for being himself, when in all actuality, I didn't even have the courage to be myself and to live my truth at that point in my life. And so that was a very humbling experience for me, and I definitely feel like I grew a lot from that experience. And so the final story that I shared at this promo event was the coming out story, if you would, to my girlfriend, current partner. And during that time, only one other individual had even known about my history and about my past, and me having attraction to both men and women. And so that was something that I was very protective of, and was very fearful of certain people finding that out about myself. And so it was a game changer for me because I found someone who affirmed my identity, someone who supported me, and loved me even more for being myself. And so that was huge. Since then, I have actively pursued or continue to pursue like-minded individuals who truly accept me for my identity. And I think that that's so important, to have that support system in your life. And so that went really well. I got a really, really good positive feedback from the crowd. I connected with some really cool individuals afterwards. And so about a week later, I got an email from Lindy Drew, who is one of the founders of Humans of St. Louis. And she attended the promo event. She loved my stories. She actually recorded some of my presentation, and she was interested in doing a photo shoot as well as sharing my stories on the Humans of St. Louis blog. And I thought I was nervous about this promo event because it was broadcast on Facebook Live. And then to get an understanding that there are 85,000 people that currently follow Humans of St. Louis, and that we're about to discover that I'm queer. And it was kind of nerve-wracking, but it was something that I knew that I couldn't refuse, because yet here was another opportunity for me to live my truth. And I feel like the universe brought me this opportunity for a reason. And so agreed to do the post, and it was released on Facebook the following month. And I had nervously shared it on my personal page. And so basically anyone with a long enough attention span to read the entire post would discover that I'm bi. And so when that happened, I felt like a 2-ton brick had been lifted from my shoulders. And for a very brief moment, I literally felt like I could fly. Unfortunately, afterwards, I had some really sobering conversations, some that literally took the wind out of my chest. And I received, let's call it, some harsh criticism for releasing my testimonies via social media. There were some individuals in my life who felt that I did more harm than good by sharing the information. And that definitely took a toll on me. And the holiday season was kind of weird, and definitely was a struggle. But the love from the Facebook comments, the messages, the texts, the phone calls, the in-person conversations, I was just blown away, flabbergasted by the support, the encouragement. And you know what? This journey isn't over for me. And there are many more ups and downs ahead. But I'm so excited for what life has in store for me. And you better believe I will continue to fight every day to live my truth And I encourage you all to do the same. And whether that's coming out or leaving that dead end job or getting out of that toxic relationship, whatever your truth is, nobody can take it away from you. So own it and live it. I think that's enough for me today. Until next time, peace and love.